So much of our politics these days are based on personal, individual beliefs and morality. And that's all fine and well. But I want to give you a different framework to think about political decisions. I am 100% in support of evidence based political policies. And the reason for this is because what we often think of as as morals, excuse me, as right and wrong is widely and significantly different than what was believed to be right or wrong in former generations. Morality has changed and will continue to change. So when we try to make our politics reflect individual morality, what is right, what is wrong, instead of what is shown by evidence to be to contribute to well-being, to contribute to individual success as opposed to harm it, we get into trouble. I say this because, people right now are avoiding family matters, cutting off their children because of decisions about their personal life. Let me just remind you that in previous eras, people would make the same decisions because their child chose to, say, be a gravedigger. Someone who chose to be an executioner would be cut off entirely from society and isolated, and their entire family would be considered persona non grata. The things that used to be legal and considered perfectly okay, like mailing your children through the postal service, like frontal lobotomies, the way that they used to treat people who were suffering from crippling depression, suicidal ideation, suffering from homosexuality, they took a sharp object and severed the connections to major parts of their brain, including the prefrontal cortex, which engages in all your executive decision making. Rosemary Kennedy, JFK's sister, underwent a lobotomy, and she was incapacitated for the rest of her life. That was considered okay and moral. The one of the men who did the initial research into it got a Nobel Prize, which they still never rescinded. It used to be considered absolutely okay to drink and drive. You could drink in the car. It has only been recently that we started to enact laws that said, don't drink and drive, don't drink before you get in the car, don't drink while you're in the car. Why? Because it turns out that behavior, whether you think it's right or it's wrong, kills people. Evidence-based policies show that drinking and driving is a net negative for society, is a danger to humankind, and needs to be regulated and punished. The fact that we associate blue with males and pink with females is also completely recent. It has not been that long since the tastemakers in society were telling us that pink was an inherently masculine color and blue was inherently feminine. These things that we think of as worth avoiding family members for, that we think they are beyond the pale and therefore it's unforgivable that this person is doing it. That's part of personal morality. It has also been very, very recent since we stopped believing that children, especially children of the poor, should be working all the time. Children used to be a huge make up a huge number of miners. They used to have to work at 12-hour days in the mines. In fact, in some times they made up 50% of the mining workforce. We are talking children as young as 5, 6, and 7. And then what happened is people realized that having that kind of work schedule, doing that kind of work, was inherently dangerous and harmful to children's lives. And they created laws outlawing the practice, restricting that, requiring that children go to school. So think about this for a moment. Try to separate intention from impact, not just in your personal lives, but in your politics as well. Look at the evidence. Is this harming people or is it not? Rather than, do I believe the this is morally right or wrong. Morals are excellent in your personal life. They are excellent in your family life. But when it comes to politics, the kind of policies that affect millions of people and last for generations, we need to think a little bit more critically about what is the evidence behind the impact of this policy, not the morality of it. Okay, have a great one. And as always, please, please, please be kind.